Hi, everyone. So we talked about education and medical. So now I'm going to talk about entertainment and how we can change entertainment with the technology. So 4element is a studio that produces interactive experience, gamified, and storytelling. So we create innovative projects that generate human interaction. Well, it can be an interactive, gamified installation in a museum, in location-based experience, in theme parks, or even interactive venue. 4elements produces its own experience and also offers its service to clients to be involved at any phase of the development process, from writing the preliminary concepts to providing specific components to an existing experience. We create the artistic content as well as the technology needed to bring projects to life. During this presentation, I will showcase some projects in which technology is being used to bring the experience to the next level, as well as the lessons learned in the process. Well, the first experience I'm going to talk to you about is, okay, I'm changing it too. Okay. Okay, so recently we've developed an interactive experience for an event called Bridgerton, the Queen of the Ball. This is produced by Netflix and Fever. So the narrative of the event brings the participants back into the English Regency period. The Queen invites the public of an evening of music and dance, acrobatic performances, interactive experience, and a breathtaking dance show. The event is currently touring across Canada and in the US and will be presented in Europe. 4elements' mandate was to design, build, and implement the components of two interactive experiences, as well as to train 4 operating crews. We created 2 interactive activities for the event. So it's the magic mirror, where guests could visualize themselves in the series costumes, and a painting studio that would transform the picture into a whole oil painting with interactive easels. So the magic mirror, each guest would stand in front of the mirror, what looked like a closed-door mirror. First, they would see their reflection, but soon after, the image was superimposed over the guest's reflection. So lighting was carefully synchronized with the visuals of the costume displayed on a large, bright monitor behind the mirror, creating an optical illusion. Sorry. Using the optical illusion that guests were actually wearing the costume, and the painting studio where guests would transform the picture into an oil painting. Well, the magic mirror was which each guest in front what looked like a closed mirror. First, they would see their reflection, but soon after, the image of one of the series costume is superimposed over the glass reflection. Lighting was carefully synchronized with the visuals of the costume displayed on the large bright monitor behind, creating the optical illusion that the guest was actually wearing the costume. Although the effect was working into this technological point of view, we ran into some challenges when it was tested when the people of the event demographic, namely women. And I can understand that, being a woman. So most of them felt uncomfortable trying dresses in public. So as the design was mostly composed of men throughout it until the final test, this ultimately led to the magic mirror not being used for the event. It also served us as a reminder always to consider the public's point of view, no matter how the technology is effective. The second activity was the painting studio. The idea behind it was to recreate the famous scene of the series. So first guests would line up and to get on a small stage with backdrop and some props, either individually or in small groups. They would pose while the attendant from the series took the picture using a camera hidden in a prop. The picture was then processed in the background by an application that turned a pencil sketch into a paint version. Oh, I'm a little... once their picture taken, the guests are invited to go into one of the 4 interactive easels where they can edit the picture by moving either their finger on the pencil and transforming into an oil painting. They can also color, filter, draw a signature, reframe their picture. And once that's done, well, they are invited to share their artwork. The finished picture is then displayed on several picture frames scattered across the venue, and a QR code is displayed so people can download the picture and share it on social media. So the entire experience was very streamlined and taking 2 minutes per guest as they perform the sequences. So far, the painting is very, very popular. Over 85,000 pictures were shared since it was launched in March. So we won't go on the change because this is the right picture. This project is really a fun example of how technology is being used in a very boring, typical trade show kiosk into a playful, gamified experience that catered wide audience ranging from students to professional. The purpose of the experience was to showcase the quality of life that it was to live in Gaspésie, a remote region, and how it was a great place for new graduates and young professionals to establish themselves. Upon entering the kiosk, they were surrounded by 3 screens. It's an 80-degree immersive projection, and it invited to take part in 3 challenges linked to specific jobs that are in high demand. So will they be able to live the challenge? Well, that was going to be. So using interactive beakers, they worked as a high school chemistry teacher, helping students identify chemicals and then mixing them to produce the right reaction. So watch out, the results might be explosive. And then they proceeded to another station where they have to rush to screw bolts to proceed to the wind turbine for shipping. So better hurry up because the time frame was limited. Finally, participants became paramedics and had to use a cardiac defibrillator to save a patient by carefully timing their shock with the patient's erratic heartbeat. So will they be able to save the patient? That was the question. And while trying to win these challenges, participants are guided by testimonials of real workers and the benefit of living and working in Gaspésie. So the project illustrates that the use of technology in the form of interactive objects linked to the immersive projection can create a lot to captivate the audience that is sometimes hard to impress, right? And even though the experience is not accurate, reproduction of precise work, in fact, the fact that it used real objects and physical manipulation contributes to the participants in a way that no screen can. So this is the last example I want to show you, and it's very interesting because it presents how the world of entertainment is going to change. It's the first ever immersive production that happens in a real physical space, augmented with large interactive video projection, surround sound, live performances, virtual characters, kinetic scenery, and props that could be manipulated in real time by participants. We wanted that to happen in a real life situation without video controls or without controllers or VR headset. So our creative director came up with this idea of an immersive open world experience where participants would each evolve through their own individual adventure, but also collaborate and compete with the other participants, and where the environment will also evolve with each participant's action. So I will show you a little video of those interactions. So one of the first challenges was the fact that the game would be in an historic setting in the 19th century. Therefore, the technology required to make the experience work needed to be invisible to maintain the immersion. So the only exception to that rule was to use a mobile application where people, so it was the user interface to display each character's inventory, status, quest, and even provide individual feedback. So we conceived, to conceive not only the storyline and produce the multimedia content of this experience, but along we developed the technology and infrastructure needed for it to happen, and all of what made it available to 200 players. So it was a pretty amazing experience. So we used indoor positioning system to keep track of all players and objects' location. An interactive video projection system that displayed real-time feedback to players' actions and to game events, as well as virtual characters. So you can see the virtual character that is in the space. An interactive audio system able to reproduce real-time location-based sound anywhere where the action happens. So, it happens when it happens to the fireplace or this object. It allows us to real-time audio that comes out of this position. Numerous interactive props are equipped with sensors that collect real-time when manipulated by players. And an interactive narrative engine that would connect all the players' action together to weave a logical storyline that continually evolves on the individual and on the collective decision. While the technology side of timber was a challenge, it allowed us to create several pieces of technology that were later used to incorporate in other projects. Once we got the technology working, we started doing playtests to observe how participants were reacting. And it did not go as expected, of course, because of that capacity of players. And they were overwhelmed and overloaded with all that was happening at the same time, having to learn not only the game, but a new language, a new way of interacting. So when we then proceeded to simplify the means of interaction and create simpler scenarios to allow first-time users to practice simple gesture and skills before being asked to perform more complete tasks. The good news is, we were able to simplify the adjustment, made a big impact, and now the game is going to be launched in June. So, what I want to tell you is the more and more people want to feel they have an impact on the world around them. Interactive technology lets people actively participate in an experience as opposed to being a passive observer. And they want to receive immediate feedback, which in turn transforms them, opens their mind, and changes their behavior. It's very, very impressive. So the technology brings the sense of magic to live entertainment that allows us to create a moment of amazement, of happiness. Such strong emotion results in people being connected to one another. So with everyone talking about metaverse, it makes that it's in growing demand for meaningful live-in-person experience with augmented technology. It will bring people back to real life. And, like Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficient advanced technology is undistinguishable from magic. And that's what we want to create, magic. So I thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'm available. Thanks.